Hi everyone, welcome to Astrology Sphere. This is your February full moon forecast, and this month we've got a full moon in Leo to look forward to. More than that, it's a supermoon. Now, what is a supermoon? Well, essentially it is when the moon is the closest to the Earth that it gets in its orbit, because it doesn't have a sort of a symmetrical orbit. And so that makes the moon look really big in the sky. And of course, symbolically, you can imagine that this means that it's not just a normal full moon, it's slightly extra, as they would say. So add to that the fact that we've got the full moon in Leo, and we're talking about quite a lot of big energy. I think it's fair to say that Leo is a sign that is synonymous with glamour. It's also a sign that is also not unfamiliar with a little bit of drama. And given the Sabian symbol that's involved in this particular full moon, it's possible that we could encounter a little bit of drama this weekend. Of course, that could simply be the Oscars, because of course that takes place on the weekend of the full moon in Leo. Probably not an accident, I wouldn't have thought. But there's also the possibility that a few people could decide to become divas. And so that's just something to watch and to kind of bear in mind as we head into the weekend. So there are a couple of things about this full moon. The first is to say that the full moon will be making a trine to Mars, and we are seeing quite a few planets move into fairly masculine signs, where there's a kind of an initiating, forward-driving energy that motivates us to take the lead, to take control, to keep driving forward the plans and the projects that we put into motion during January with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, and of course with the new eclipse season that started on the 26th of December. But then on the other hand, we've also got some mutable energy coming in with Pisces season. We've already got Mercury there, and Mercury is due to go retrograde mid-month. And then the sun's going to move in on the 19th, and we've got a new moon later this month in Pisces. And that's going to feel quite different. That's softer energy, quite chilled, but it can also potentially be a little bit lazy. It likes to sort of take the line of least resistance. So there is the danger that we could slip back into old habits if we allow ourselves to, and that's just something you want to kind of bear in mind. You don't necessarily want to undo all your good work. So the best way to utilize this energy, generally speaking, is to consider that, maybe it's time to let your hair down a little bit if you've been working really hard, maybe see some friends, have a little bit of fun, find ways to inject joy back into your life, because that energy from January was very heavy. It was a little bit serious, and so I think that right now we could all do with letting our hair down a little bit and just reconnecting with our inner child in a positive and creative way. And that will refill the well and help us to move forward, with our goals and so on, which Venus and Mars, I think, will be kind of pushing us to do. So we've got sign changes happening. Venus is moving into Aries, and that happens 2 days before the full moon. Venus isn't terribly happy here, so this is about kind of getting in touch with our more warrior-like energy, the female warrior, which this theme kind of began with the ingress of Lilith into Aries, and I think it's going to continue throughout the month. We've got Mars moving into Capricorn, and that's happening around about the time of the Mercury retrograde, and I think that's good. That's designed to kind of keep us on the straight and narrow. Mars is exalted here, so this is really where Mars is happy. It's a good way to channel that very strong, aggressive, assertive energy into creating things of substance, things that will last, empire building. So it's a fabulous way to use Mars rather than kind of causing trouble or getting into fights with people. And then, as I say, we've got these kind of two conflicting energies. On the one hand, we've got the sort of the cardinal energy of Venus and Mars. And then on the other hand, we've got this mutable energy, which is all the planets that are in Pisces. And I think what we're going to have to do is negotiate our way through February, trying to balance these two things out. Just as the full moon is about balancing out the energy of Aquarius on one hand and Leo on the other, I think we're also going to have to take this this sort of center line where we're balancing opposites going into February. I mean, I think essentially until we get to the spring equinox in March, we are in a way still learning as we go. We're only 2 months into the 6-month eclipse cycle, so we do need to just bear that in mind, not be too hard on ourselves, not put too much pressure on ourselves, and also not expect too much in the way of awards at this point, and just keep kind of moving forward, making adjustments as we go. I think that's what Mercury retrograde is great for, and I think it's also a good lesson, from the cosmos, that if planets can be in places where they don't necessarily feel particularly comfortable, then I think we must also learn to be a little bit uncomfortable as well. So that's my summary of the full moon. I'm now going to get into a bit more detail for my extended forecast, which is available to members.
If you've enjoyed this forecast and you'd like access to my extended forecasts and eclipse predictions, as well as access to special offers on written reports and readings, then consider signing up at astrologysphere.com/subscribe.